Your animation skills aren't where you thought they'd be. That thought of, I'll learn the basics and let the software do the rest. That problem caught up with me too, and I'm a professional motion designer. But everything clicked when I went back to the very basics without the software's help. And it changed my work in ways that I never expected, and can for your work too. If you're new here, hi, I'm Sarah Malka. I'm a motion designer who originally thought that I would be animating everything by hand until I went to college and made the digital switch. It was then that I started thinking that the computer could fill in the blanks for me and the program would handle everything. Did it work? No, because I'm making this video. But when I finally realized what most animators never talk about, it was such a change. And if you're learning animation for the first time, or maybe you're a professional who has been doing this for a while, and you realize that your animation skills, your learning growth, it starts to slow, it crawls, and then it stops. It's hard when you look at your work and you realize it's not where you want it to be. And it's frustrating when you can't make it better because something isn't clicking. There is some hole in your knowledge that is just making this process feel so much harder than it needs to be. I remember a coworker of mine, maybe for you it was a friend, that they commented on my animation that I could be doing XYZ. And I remember they said it like it was the most obvious thing in the world. And to them, it absolutely was. And it was absolutely the right way to take the animation. But I didn't think of that. And I just remember thinking to myself, I feel very inadequate and not as good as I thought I was. It was such a basic, something that I had skipped over because I was relying on the computer. What's worse, I realized that I had even started thinking like a computer in a very linear fashion, which is what a computer does. But if you want to be an animator, you have to think like an animator does, which is creatively. I think the biggest difference between computers and animators is that computers will move things robotically from point A to B. Animators can never move anything in a straight line. We move them by bouncing, twirling, staggering, drunkenly, anything to give it a personality. Anything. And you know when an animator is great because they can bring carpets to life. What's even worse in all of this is when you really do come to realize that you don't know as much as you need to become that great animator because you've relied so much on the computer to give you the information and to fill in all the blanks for you. And please, please don't get me wrong, computer animation is absolutely wonderful, amazing, and it can speed up the process so much. But the issue becomes when you don't have that grasp on the basics. And then your personal progress, it stutters, stops, and you're left with nothing. And I know this because I did return to those basics. I realized that I did not know what I needed in order to make great animations anymore. And also, as a funny story, I am a mom of two. I do not have a lot of personal time, but I wanted to get back into doing personal projects. And I figured, bouncing ball exercise, I can definitely do that in 15, 20 minutes that I actually have for at night, and I can do it so well that I only need to do it once. That exercise that I was only going to do one time, I actually ended up doing it 50 times because I realized how much I didn't know about the basics. And it showed me so many gaps where my knowledge was, specifically where my squash and stretch was never good enough. I found so many opportunities for anticipation, and I even figured out how to use ease in, ease out more properly than I have when I was doing it with the software. It gave me this crazy insight that basics are a shortcut. They give you a leg up. And that when you return to basics, you're not going backwards. You're actually giving yourself a chance to go forwards because you have all this knowledge and it does so much for your own personal work in ways that you don't even realize until you actually return back to basics. Just by returning to basics, when you go back into your bigger projects, you immediately, and again, even if you're just starting out, you immediately understand where to make a quick decision because you already know what the result is going to be from making that decision. For example, in my motion design job, I've been doing a lot more character animation lately, and I really, really wish I could show it here, but I do not own that because I'm an employee. But anyway, the point is that I'm making is that because I went back to my bouncing ball exercises, when I returned to doing those character animations, I was able to figure out where that anticipation would be the most, where I could add squash and stretch to make things really have more of an impact. And it made my workflow a lot quicker, which was good because I got pressure towards the end of that project. But it did turn out really, really well. And I don't know if I mentioned this, but the surprising thing about returning to basics and everything, you might think it's going to take you hours to get good at the basics again, or that you have to relearn all of your knowledge, and that's the only way that you're going to do it is that you have to spend hours on it. And the truth is, as I just mentioned with those bouncing ball exercises and my limited time, you do not need that much to get good again quickly. or if you're just starting out, to just get good. All it takes is 15 to 30 focused minutes. That's it. And a bigger bonus is that these small projects show you where your gaps are, because you look back and you critique your own work and you figure it out. And then you're able to go on to the next one when you next have time, and you get to work on filling in those gaps, which is what I did. But I go more into how I changed a basic bouncing ball exercise into a supercharged routine in this video here. Also, if you want animation tips that will fit in with your busy life, sent right to you, just join my email list by clicking the link below.